Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's show. I'm your host, Zach Drew.
And I'm Andrew Bellers.
We have a very, very, very important show planned for you today. It's one of those type of shows where if you've watched one out of the last 10 shows, this is the show to watch. Things could change so fast in America during the next, I almost said pandemic, the next pandemic that will likely happen in the fall or the winter of this year, according to those that are planning it. And I'm going to be showing you what I mean. President Biden secretly handed over our national security. All right, it started in secret. No one knew in January of this year. No coverage, no press. It's just now coming to fruition. And he's done it through an executive order, handing our sovereignty over to a global entity. And things could change so fast. So fast. I am an end times minister. I have studied the book of Revelation. I have taught it all the way through 7 or 8 different times. And I believe that we are in the end times. And I believe that what just took place could escalate us down that road much further than anything that has happened in the past couple of years. Okay? Now, before I get into that, I need to do some housekeeping, and then we're going to throw it to the intro and get back into the nitty-gritty. We need your help. We need donations right now. I said the last couple of months donations have been down, which is fine. We had a little bit of a nest egg. It's starting to tap into it, and then something else just recently happened, and it just got settled rather. So, about over a year ago, we posted on our website and Facebook and social media a couple of different shows featuring a picture of Black Lives Matter burning down an entire city. And then we also did a show about how Joe Biden is just letting this happen. We had an image of Joe Biden. And this, what is truly known as a copyright trolling law firm, tried to sue us. Now, I had to hire our own attorney, and I'm not going to mention any of the law firms by name, but shout out to who represented us because they didn't charge us anything. Because they said that this particular firm based in California is a disgrace to law practicing lawyers throughout the country. And of course, we're being targeted. We've been targeted by YouTube and other places. We have one more check and we're permanently banned. We can wear that like a badge of honor, yes, but it also will mean that even though I've said it so many times to those that are watching on social media, find us on Rumble. You've got to check us out on Rumble because we're going to be leaving. But we're being targeted by other organizations as well. Because even though what we did, they said it was a copyright images, it should have been under fair use law because we were discussing what was taking place. We weren't just using it and posting it. We were discussing the images that were taking place. Now, we were able to settle with them thanks to the jujitsu work of our attorney. They were originally wanting a minimum of $30,000 per image, which is $60,000 minimum. And we the attorney said, listen, if we take it to court, we would likely win because of fair use laws. But the thing is this, you're going to get drowned in legal fees because you're going to have to pay all these legal fees being represented in California, this and that. So we had to settle at a very, 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 very much smaller price for something that we didn't do that was wrong. That's the thing, is that it was fair use. But we are being targeted, and we're being targeted by, of course, it's from California. And so we were down the last couple of months, and then this just hit. So please, if you enjoy this show and enjoy this content, consider giving an extra gift this month. And just listen, a shout out to those that every single month give. That every single month, and listen, you know who you are. Every single month you give, and you give the exact same amount, whether it's through the mail or online. I just can't say thank you enough. If you weren't there, we would not be here. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our monthly supporters. And so listen, if you want to give, go to ZachTrueShow.com, click the bright orange donate button, or give at through the P.O. Box. It's IGBY, Zach Drew Show. It's P.O. Box 797, Decatur, Illinois, 62521. P.O. Box 62525. Listen, it's on the screen. You know, it's been, I need to talk about donations more often, but we just get a bad rap in the Christian television world because I would be called a televangelist, and we get a bad rap. So like I kind of steer on the other side of the spectrum and don't talk about it enough, even whenever we're struggling. So I am right now. Please get involved. Listen, powerful show planned for today. The World Health Organization wants to expand its global control, and President Biden is helping them along the way. Last Sunday, the World Health Assembly, which is the governing body of the World Health Organization, they met to discuss potential changes to its pandemic treaty, okay? And at what cost? The cost of that treaty will be our national sovereignty, and more specifically, sovereignty over our bodies. All right, we're going to keep setting the stage and moving forward. But first, here's a little bit more about this from Tucker Carlson on Fox News.
So what will this operational control mean? Let's be specific. Right off the bat, the treaty demands, quote, national and global coordinated actions to address the misinformation, disinformation, and stigmatization that undermine public health. Oh! Here we go, right to censorship. People are criticizing us, and for public health reasons, that can't be allowed. If you criticize us, people will die. So you saw yesterday that the Biden administration, in the face of universal laughter and derision, had to fire the head of its new Ministry of Truth. But they found another way to do it. Quote, WHO Secretariat to build capacity to deploy proactive countermeasures against misinformation and social media attacks. Oh, are you following this? So they're going to get to censor anybody who doesn't agree with what they do as they control the intimate details of your life. And they will control those details. Under this treaty, the World Health Organization will get to establish vaccine passports and regulate travel. World Health Organization will, quote, develop standards for producing a digital version of the International Certificate of Vaccination and Prophylaxis. Okay. So you may be thinking, well, it's just about COVID, and I went along with mandatory vaccines and vaccine passports at the time. How bad could it be? First of all, if you went along with that, you should be repenting right about now.
We know that the Biden administration supports this. Like I said in the beginning of the show, they secretly submitted amendments to the 2005 International Health Regulation in January of 2022. No coverage, no press, nothing. He also knows that there would not be enough support for this in the Senate. Listen, you have to have 2/3 majority vote for treaties to be approved. He's not going to get that support. Therefore, what does he do? He's doing the same thing that's been done the last couple of years now. He's forcing it through an executive order, which he can legally do because we're still in a state of national emergency because of COVID-19. Here's more on that.
So their goal is to create a pandemic treaty that will synchronize and consolidate the control under these global authorities, where they could basically lock you down. They could force, therapeutics on you, say, you're a public health threat. This is what you need to do. We're going to declare your region a public health emergency, and we can do anything we want. Now, they were working on that for a while, and I was always wondering where the Biden administration was, because they support it. They were awfully quiet. Well, it turns out that they quietly submitted amendments to this 2005 International Health Regulations in January. No press conference, no press release on the whitehouse.gov website.
We sent them. Our White House sent them.
Yep, they sent them, and you could see the strike through.
Oh, yeah.
And basically the upshot of it is it takes away the determination of the state. The WHO Secretary General shall instead of may do this. took out all the consultation requirements with the state, but we didn't even know about this until a few weeks ago. And they're going to submit it at this conference. And like you said, the reason they're doing this is because Biden knows he doesn't have 67 votes for a treaty. So like everything else they do, rather than a treaty, a law, really everything they did throughout COVID, you just do it executively or make an end run around it. So they're going to have a de facto treaty without calling it that. And that's the way they plan on getting this passed. And look, Biden claims to already have the support of Canada and most of Europe.
This treaty would mean that in the next pandemic, whatever they want it to be, the World Health Organization would be able to tell Americans what to do and what not to do without the approval of any of our elected officials. Now, the Biden administration held recently the Global COVID Summit. If you tuned in at all, you'll see that the great takeaway of everything, the more than just a general consensus, I mean, like everyone agreed that there will be a worse pandemic coming, and it's going to be coming in the last few months of this year. So they know, they understand that this is going to happen. And they all agree that it is going to pale in comparison to COVID-19. And I don't know, listen, I don't know if they're planning it with monkeypox or maybe now that COVID is dying, there needs to be some type of placeholder before the next big one. You know, hey, monkeypox, you're up, time to shine. It honestly could be, it could literally be a placeholder just to keep Americans' minds on sickness, on disease, so that, that they're ready for the next big one. And let me tell you right now, can you just imagine? Listen, so we had certain states doing their own things because of state sovereignty. Florida and Texas, then a couple of their states kind of started following lead. Mm-hmm. But what happens whenever they start doing their own thing, and now it's no longer their elected officials, their state representatives, their state, they can't do anything, even federally. Because in the next pandemic, they will hand over all control, all decision-making to the World Health Organization. And the states that don't comply, do you think it's going to be the U.S. military going? No, it's not. It'd be troops from the United Nations. Do you see how incredibly globalist, how incredibly wicked, how fast things could change? And it was already done. The treaty has went through a forced executive order. It's finished. I'm telling you right now that if this takes place, I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in Texas, and I agree. Listen, when that happens, you're looking at like people like the good Texan people seceding from the nation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, that's so wild. That's so far-fetched, Zach. We just handed over handing over our bodily sovereignty is far-fetched, and it just took place. And so whenever this powerful global entity is in control and you don't do what they say, what's going to happen? I'm just saying that things could escalate incredibly quickly. And listen, and Texas could survive. Texas is actually the 10th largest economy. Like as far as, dividing all the nations, if Texas was its own nation, it'd be the 10th largest economy in the world.
They got their own oil. They got their own treasury. They're good.
Yeah, they operate on their own power grid, which there has been some little bit changes to that because a lot of 20% of their power grid is now solar powered, which is not good. But I pray that there's that infrastructure is still there for if they secede from the nation.
Yeah.
But listen, people are often wondering, where are we in Revelation events? I think we're in the time of sorrows. And we're not in Revelation 6, the four horsemen aren't riding, but we're in the time of sorrows. And no one knows how long the time of sorrows it is. What we know is that it's going to work like a woman in labor, where the contractions first thing, ooh, that's kind of a little contraction. I just had my first contraction, right? It's like, and they're going to get more powerful until, you're screaming to get that baby out of you. They're going to become more powerful and more frequent. The severity of the contractions will be larger and closer together. And that is what the end times is like. And I believe that we are in the end times. I believe that we are in the time of sorrows. This is very serious stuff. What I think, honestly, what it's time for? It's time for a little comic relief, okay, before we jump back into it. So I was on Facebook, and I saw these series of like 14 memes, and basically it started out with saying, hey, listen, if you don't watch any of the news, here's a few memes to sum up what's going on the world stage. Let's go ahead and run that first meme. Here's an image of Drake. It's me trying to figure out what's going on in the world via memes since I refuse to watch the news. Well, there we have the Puppet Master, TV of COVID-19, oil, and the conflict in Ukraine. Oh, this is an important one, guys. The cause of monkeypox outbreak, it's been identified. And there you have it. That sweet little monkey with a very striking similarity to Bill Gates there. Oh, also, not from an approved medical expert, when a monkey bites you, you are affected due to its toxicity. You alone are affected. You cannot spread the bite and its effects. Listen, I don't know if you get all your news from Facebook, but don't trust this guy. I'm not really sure if that's how monkeypox actually works. Oh, and here we go. Here's monkeypox terrifying a small child, represented by the 11 people who still believe the media. Oh, and here's the new show, Monkeypox. Make sure you tune in every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. COVID-19, showing monkeypox around the workplace. Here's monkeypox attacking the triple jabbed, who should be just totally safe by now. Hey, coronavirus protective gear. Well, time to step up our game. Here's the monkeypox protective gear. Go Power Rangers. Listen, I know I'm I'm a little early, but just want to let everybody know I'm also anti-monkeypox jab. All right. All right. Here is what's this movie called again with those characters? Predator, the aliens from Predator. Hey, are we up yet? well, sort of. They're trying this disease thing again. Something about monkeys, right? Send the aliens. Oh, by the way, the K in monkeypox is silent. Yep, you're welcome. Moneypox. Yep. And here we go, stick figure poking the Illuminati. Come on, doing an alien invasion, and monkeypox is boring, right? All right, so listen, I can't believe it's monkeypox season already. I still have my Ukraine decorations up. Listen, so if that's where, if you don't get your news from our sources, we'll go ahead and give you the news through memes as well. Listen, let's go. You take it away, Andrew.
Well, I don't know. Like you said, I don't know if the next thing is going to be monkeypox. But I did see an article this week that I thought was really interesting. And this is what the article says. Monkeypox was a tabletop simulation only last year. So this is what it says. Elite media outlets around the world are on red alert over the world's first ever global outbreak of monkeypox in mid-May 2022. Just 1 year after an international biosecurity conference in Munich held a simulation of a, quote, global pandemic involving an unusual strain of monkeypox beginning in mid-May of 2022.
Whoa. Okay, so when was that simulation done?
That was done last year.
It was for monkeypox?
It was for an unusual strain of monkeypox for specifically mid-May of this year.
I mean, I get why there would be a simulation for monkeypox in my 30 years here on planet Earth. Gosh, there's been 5 or 6 epidemics and pandemics concerning monkeypox.
Yeah, it's so common. And then it goes on to say, monkeypox, like you just said, it was first identified in 1958, but there has never, in all of history, been a global monkeypox outbreak outside of Africa until now. in the exact week of the exact month predicted by the biosecurity folks in their pandemic simulation. Take these guys to Vegas, because who would have guessed? And what I think is really interesting about this is it marks a trend of global elites basically planning and simulating things that were to come, and specifically something called Event 201. You probably have heard about this, but this article goes on to say that this simulation bears a striking resemblance to the outbreak of COVID-19 just months after Event 201, which was a simulation of a coronavirus pandemic, almost exactly like COVID-19. And Event 201 was hosted in October of 2019. Just 2 months before the coronavirus was first revealed in Wuhan. And this is who put on the simulation: the Gates Foundation, the World Economic Forum, Bloomberg, and Johns Hopkins. Which is crazy. So like I said, I don't know that monkeypox is going to be the next thing. But what we do know is that the global elite, people like the WHO, people like the World Economic Forum, specifically, Yuval Noah Harari, they are looking for a crisis that they can use to transform the world and basically bring about the Great Reset.
That's exactly right. Listen, I'm just so, the word isn't fascinated, just that this group of people at that global summit last week, they all agreed that a much worse pandemic, that they don't know what the pandemic is going to be, it's going to be coming in how would they know that?
Yeah.
How? It's impossible. Well, you know what? I think they have to tell us, because, God says he'll never do anything in the earth without first revealing it to his prophets. And the prophets make that known. I think that Satan does the same thing, and he reveals it to the world through his demonic prophets before they come. But yet the world is so, I wouldn't even say they're sleeping, they're in a coma, that whenever they're on the largest stages of the world, prophesying demonically of what they have planned, the world just doesn't know. They don't care. They're not awake. They're not listening. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. I think for a lot of people, it would be shocking to even realize that, I think a lot of people think COVID is dead and that the whole pandemic is over. I think it'd be shocking to realize that Biden would even have the power to do this, because we're still technically in a state of emergency. And like I said, they're using this crisis and have used this crisis to push the Great Reset. And I want to go into another article here really quickly. And this is what it says. Imagine the compliance. Pfizer CEO pitched Davos elites on Wi-Fi microchip pills.
I don't really like the word compliance these days. Just throwing it out there, not a huge fan of that word.
Yeah, maybe think of a different word to use. This is what it says. Flashback. Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla dazzled the audience in 2018 at the World Economic Forum in Davos with fantasies of ingestible computer chips that signal authorities when a drug has been digested. I just want to play this clip really quick, because when you hear it come from his mouth, it's just so much more impactful. So let's just play that.
It is basically biological chip that it is in the tablet. And once you take the tablet and dissolves into your stomach, sends a signal that you took the tablet. So imagine the applications of that, compliance. The insurance companies to know that the medicines that patients should take, they do take them. It is fascinating what happens in this field.
So this is what he said.
And okay, so this wasn't, the headline says, imagine the compliance, but it wasn't saying can you imagine the compliance? That guy was saying it was a good thing. Imagine the compliance.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing that we would be able to force people to take medications. And that's really why why I'm talking about this is, we're talking about this treaty with the WHO, them taking away our national sovereignty, taking away our bodily autonomy, the rights over our own bodies. And how are they going to enforce that? Well, they might enforce it with things like a microchip pill.
I didn't think about that. That's good.
And, I think COVID really was sort of them. it was a testing ground for them.
And they realized it was so easy.
And they realized they could use geolocation. They can use your location data to see if you're social distancing. They can use facial recognition and security cameras to see if you're wearing your mask. That was all testing ground. Now I think it's the next stage of where they actually monitor inside of your bodies, and that's something that specifically Yuval Noah Harari has said is the goal. This is what we want to do.
And Harari, just so you know, he's saying that, he's the one that says we have to use crises to usher in a new world order. And Harari is many of the left globalist elite, including Klaus Schwab, the leader of the World Economic Forum. Harari is his number one favorite, like, human being, his number one favorite futurist.
Yeah.
And he's the one that is saying, we've got to use these crises to usher in a new world order.
Yeah.
And yet so many people, whenever you say the new world order, they still think you're a conspiracy theorist. It's like, I wish they were in a room with the leader of the Economic Forum, with Noah Harari sitting there, with the leaders of the World Health Organization. I mean, the UN, the major leaders, and you think that you just doing nothing with your life and just doing your own thing, that you have more knowledge, that you think that a new world order is such a conspiracy theory, whenever the movers, that the ungodly kings of this earth are all saying the same thing, but yet the average Joe says, well, that's a bunch of baloney. No one's ever going to be pushing a new world order. I was doing one of the speakers at a fundraiser recently, a Republican Party fundraiser, and lots of state representatives were there, a lot of federal Congress people and people that were running, and I gave an opening speech and the prayer. And at the end, I come up and talk for a few more minutes. And listen, I hope I get invited back, because the place was packed out, lots of fancy people, a lot of money there. And I'm saying, listen, the one thing standing in the way of a total new world order is a strong America. Listen to me. I say this with conviction. If America falls, darkness will cover the earth, and out of its ashes will rise a phoenix of a new world order. I'm saying these things from this podium and from this absolutely packed out people in all their fancy clothes and everything. Yeah. But it's going good, because I actually got invited to Senator Darren Bailey, who sued Governor Pritzker of Illinois and won. Right? Yeah. One, he's running for governor of Illinois, and he is starting a massive red wave throughout Illinois. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. And he has a place in Chicago, and they're really working in Chicago, and they really have, by the grace of God, they truly might have a chance at this.
Yeah.
Seeing what is taking place. And I did just get invited to give a small speech at the beginning of his black tie fundraiser event. So, I wasn't immediately nixed for talking about the New World Order in a secular environment, and saying that, and I minister at the end of it. But listen, all of these things, because I know we're out of time, all of these things it's just one more large stride down the road of globalism. There can just total control over our bodies, giving away bodily sovereignty. There cannot be any individuality. Do you understand that? There cannot be a personal freedom, socialism, communism, globalism. It works on automatization, right? And here we have the freest country in the world, a country that thrives because of its individuality, our autonomy given to us by our forefathers in the Constitution. And we have people like Biden, our commander in chief, Sir Forgets a lot, just selling the United States down the river. And it shouldn't come as a surprise. It should only come as a surprise to those that are sleeping. Listen, God has spoken through his word. that there will be a one world government ruled by the Antichrist. We know the end game. Revelation 13:7-8 says, and the authority was given over him every tribe, tongue, and nation. All who dwell on the earth will worship him, whose names have not been written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. We are living in the end times. It's time to get prepared.
Yeah.
It's time to get prepared.